Hi, my name is Manice Delva, and today I will be informing you of the uninsured rate in the U.S. The uninsured rate has dropped from 15% in March to 13.4% in April. The previous low was 13.9% in September. The Gallup poll has been tracking these numbers since January 2008. The exact question asked of these citizens was, do you have health coverage? Adults 18 and older were polled. Now, a lot of these numbers can be attributed to the Affordable Care Act being mandated and the expiration date for enrollment have been extended from March 31st to April 15th. Now, many people agree with nationwide health care, but of course, there was plenty of opposition against the Affordable Care Act. Many people called it confusing, unnecessary even. And only half of the uninsured individuals here in the United States really knew anything about it. They just knew it was health care, they needed it, they wanted it, and they needed to enroll. 31% of those who enrolled into the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare as it's referred to, felt that it would help, according to prospect.org. Only 31% felt that the Affordable Care Act would help them in their health care coverage needs. Of course, something so widespread will always be a work in progress. The kinks would have to be worked out. There would have to be a little bit of fail to find out what you need to correct. An editorial board from the Washington Post called it confusing, purely confusing. And there was a lot of discontent with the website and how to do things and how exactly to enroll and such. One opposer of the Affordable Care Act, Betsy McCarthy, former Lieutenant Governor of New York State, said that President Obama is dismantling the Affordable Care Act himself, lawlessly hacking off provisions as they become unpopular in order to minimize Democratic losses in the fall election. Now, of course, anything within politics is going to encounter opposition. However, the numbers do speak for themselves. While many felt they were forced to enroll, the uninsured rates dropped drastically amongst blacks, Hispanics, and lower income Americans. The rate dropped amongst the black demographic, falling 7.1%. Now, this may be because blacks and Hispanics obviously are minorities here in this country, and attribute greatly to the lower incomes, unfortunately. Those with an annual income of less than $36,000 dropped 5.5%. And it was expected that low-income families would benefit the most from the Affordable Care Act. This being because most low-income families are minimum wage families, not working full-time jobs, not being afforded health care through their employers. These numbers were met with high regards within the Obama administration, and they were happy with that. And although these numbers seem good, like I said, the opposers still find that the Affordable Care Act will fail. At some point it will fail, but we have to look at the numbers. Another target subgroup was among young Americans 18 to 25-year-olds. However, there was a huge decline amongst 35 to 64-year-olds. The surge of these numbers came from newly insured Americans who were never insured at all, which isn't surprising. It is not too surprising. Again, a lot of these low-income families are not offered health care through their employers. They're working minimum wage, working part-time as opposed to full-time. So the minute that the mandate was put in place for the Affordable Care Act, they all rushed to it and enrolled. Which is why we see that decline of our uninsured Americans starting from January 2008 up until now. Now, although the opposers may say what they want, we all agree that the United States should be a nation with nationwide healthcare coverage. And while many states still have the opportunity to regulate on their own, with extensions to Medicaid and making changes of those things, I feel the Affordable Care Act will open that door, will open that discussion, so to speak, to get Americans to go out there and get more information about health care, whether it be through the Affordable Care Act or whether it be through Medicaid, or looking at their employers to possibly offer something even to their part-time workers, and thus causing employers to even look at, well, what can I offer my part-time workers? What kind of coverages can I give them? Can I give them a break? Can I possibly even raise minimum wage what I give for minimum wage, so that my workers can afford some type of health care if they choose. Now, 4% of these rates reflect Americans that are being insured for the first time. This was found after interviewing 20,000 adults. 20,000 adults, 4% of them are being insured for the first time. The remainder being people who converted from a different policy into the Affordable Care Act, which is also good. I would like to think that those are not the half of uninsured Americans who know nothing about the Affordable Care Act and may have done their research and feel that the Affordable Care Act better fits their needs. And that number is 7.5%. 7.5% got a new policy replacing an old one. The 4% increase, like I said, of the newly insured people are people who are looking at the country and saying, yes, I finally needed this. I finally, got what we've been asking for. We need health care in the country, and here it is, the Affordable Care Act. And while only 31% think this will help, the numbers for themselves show that this is what we wanted. This is what we've been waiting for. And I would hope that after the kinks and the fails go through and kind of ride out, that we get a product that we're happy with and we can work with. Now, the newly insured individuals are from the ages 18 to 29, which makes sense. 18, you're no longer covered under your parents' policy unless you're in college. By the time you're 29, you're out of college, you're on your own, you're doing your thing. So that age range is really where you would be getting covered for the first time. Whether it's through an employer or through the Affordable Care Act, it makes sense. And lower income families having their numbers spiked up. 38% of those low income families who have enrolled in the Affordable Care Act have an annual income of less than $24,000. Again, showing that we're low income. We need this. We need the health care. And it also brings into question, where is Medicaid for these lower income families? I know there's questions as far as being a child, or if you're in an older age. I'm not too sure how that works out, but obviously this decrease in uninsured Americans is substantial, because this is what the country needs. And I would hope, after taking a look at these numbers and furthering research even beyond this, that we can finally find a happy place within our country and have our citizens covered with the health care that they need. Thank you.